And welcome to an episode of the Geek Centurions, my boy Eli.
It's me, Joe.
So, I was thinking about making this next episode about the recent Gamescom stuff, and you guys should go watch the announcements. They're all pretty cool. We finally got Silk Song coming out in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, that was a very funny experience for those fans. Granted, I never played the original, the first game.
Yeah.
But I know it was very popular indie game.
I know you didn't play it because you can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, exactly. But I know
it's Undertale.
That's not Undertale, dude.
Is it not? Oh,
no.
I think it was a different game then.
No, you're. I think you're probably thinking of Deltarune, actually.
Yeah, that's what it was.
No, but the original, Silk Song coming out. Point is, we're not talking about that. It's pretty funny that it's taken this long. Hollow Knight. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just funny how long it's taken with all the updates and stuff. I think there's like a Twitter account that was just constantly posting like, it's day something until Silk Song comes out or whatever. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But no, there was another big gaming news that happened this week that I feel like kind of dampened the whole Gamescom feeling of like, hey, cool stuff happening, right? Monster Hunter, Final Fantasy crossover, that's cool.
Resident Evil 9 stuff.
Yeah, which looks sick. But all that sort of took a bit of a backseat to the big announcement that Sony made this week, where they were increasing the prices for all of their PlayStation consoles by $50.
Which doesn't sound like a lot.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but then you remember how much these consoles cost. And yeah, it quickly becomes, oh God, right? Starting the 21st of August, which by day of recording was yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 5 went from a $499 console to $549. The PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, which is technically the cheaper version, took that spot as $500 now instead of the $450. And the PlayStation 5 Pro, which was $700, got bumped up to $750, basically. Granted, this is all American pricing, by the way, so I'm assuming this stuff is way more expensive in like Australia, Canada, like any other territory that usually tends to have higher prices than the US.
This is something I was really hoping wouldn't happen, because it wasn't that long ago that we talked about the situation that happened with Xbox when them raising their prices, and whether it was like, say, current situation going on in the world, or just kind of Xbox shooting themselves in the foot every goddamn week.
Yeah, in terms of just wanting to recuperate console costs, yeah. But this one definitely seems to follow in that sort of trend of the current economic situation going on, in terms of a lot of these tariffs happening. Sort of just,
It's kind of crazy because usually we expect as the generations go further to the prices to go down and down and down, but this is the exact opposite of it going up.
Yeah, because if I recall, because now I think about it, at least for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they ever got a price decrease over the past couple years, because I know, like, obviously when the PS3 was announced, it was at the time $700.
Yep.
A lot of people saw that as way too expensive. I mean, granted, you saw the benefits, right? It had a Blu-ray disc player, right, which was new at the time, had all these features, right, backwards compatibility and stuff. So retrospectively, it's like, okay, I could maybe see for the time why that was expensive, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, the PS3 with its iterative newer updates did get cheaper and cheaper over time to be competitive with the 360, right? And similar thing happened with the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era, where those consoles started, I think, around the 500 mark for both. I think.
No, I think Xbox was a little more expensive.
I think maybe it was. I think it's because of the bundle with Connect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But over time, both of those consoles did see price decreases as well. But for this generation, though, we haven't seen that at all. I think maybe Nintendo's been the only one to decrease the price of like the Switch a little bit. I think it was like It might have been like 350, then it just got brought down to 300, and then of course the Switch Lite version came out without the dock, being fully handheld basically.
Yeah.
Um,
You also got to remember now, because we're talking about it, there was a point that the question was whether or not the Switch price increase would be implemented before its release.
we're talking about Switch 2, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Which ultimately Switch 2 didn't have that big of a price, right?
yeah.
But of course, I think as of recently, some of the accessories went up, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's technically like $90 for Switch cons
For the
controllers.
Joy-Cons?
For the
Yeah.
Joy-Cons, yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, Sony did come out and say that none of the accessories, like the controllers or the PlayStation Portal thing,
Mm.
are going up in price either. So I mean, that's probably the best news of that segment. But yeah, it's still one of those like it's disheartening. It's sad that this is sort of going to happen, especially considering like realistically for people who wanted to say upgrade to the PS5 Pro, like I mean, do you really want to do that at this point when it's like 750 in the US alone?
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about.
That's someone's paycheck, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I get that there's probably gonna be some people that I think I already seen some comments about it being like, well, just don't buy it, or like why do you need to buy the console or whatever, that sort of thing, which
Mhm.
is on the one hand fair, but at the same time, it's one of those weird things of like you're blaming people for buying stuff that they want.
Yeah.
Like it's their money; they can choose to spend it however they want. I understand that maybe yes, you should exercise a bit more financial responsibility, but at the same time, like it's still kind of like one of those things of like, well, this is kind of suck again. Like I could totally see us getting the next generation of consoles, maybe like a PS6 or whatever, in the next like 3 to 4 years from now, right?
Yeah.
And that console might, who knows how much that's gonna cost, honestly.
There's no way it would be less than what it is now, because there's a reason for the price increase, and there's also a reason for a lot of that stuff. I mean, like like the sad part is it ended up. We kind of knew at some point this might end up happening, and we didn't want it to happen. But like the forces at play right now are just kind of in that sort of opposite end. PlayStation is like the most popular console out right now. It's outselling probably both Switch and, well, I wouldn't say outselling Switch.
Well, it has a larger install base at the moment, but obviously Switch 2 has been a resounding success so far in terms of console sales, I believe. I think it's like what, like the most consoles sold in like an opening launch,
Mm.
at least domestically in the US.
Let me tell you, Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's a fun game.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Obviously the new Mario Kart helps. We're getting the next Pokemon Legends game this year, along with Metroid Prime 4. Pretty much, listen, once we get mainline Mario, a new mainline Zelda, and of course, a new Smash Brothers,
That's not
God willing. No, listen, Sakurai's back from the dead. He's making Kirby Air Riders, dude.
Actually, I would buy it for I'll play Kirby Air Rides. That new character looks kind of cool.
Yeah, but anyways, point is Sakurai has been brought back from the dead. He's awoken once again, and maybe he's now been locked into a random room somewhere by the Nintendo higher ups to be like, now you make Smash Brothers. We let you make Kirby Air Riders. Now get us in. Now get in there and make Smash again. It's like, no.
But it won't be at Evo.
You don't know. You don't know, man. Maybe Nintendo will finally be like, hey, let's support the Smash community. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
that's not gonna happen.
Not anytime soon.
Anyways, though, back to the serious topic at hand, though.
Yeah. So like it's kind of sad. Like again, Xbox is kind of been shooting themselves in the foot every other year, every other like minute,
Mhm.
and it's like, well, that was bound to happen. You're also just canceling like a lot of studios, so this is kind of on you. But the pricing thing, I'm like, I don't even know if that's more you or just more just like, again, just things being the way they are. So like that one, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that one, I'm not gonna let slide. I'm not gonna let fully slide, but everything else, I'm like, You didn't think that would be a good idea, did you? You didn't think that yeah, okay. Yes, sure. Cancel Perfect Dark. Sure. But even then, like there's still like they're both Sony and PlayStation. Let's be fair, are also shutting down studios, which is not as an alarming rate as Xbox, but it's still kind of both sad.
Yeah, it's just all kinds of not great. I did see on an article from Polygon,
Mhm.
at least because I was just trying to make sure we got the right details for the story here. Um, that back in I think May, I believe the
Mhm.
Sony president was contemplating seeing how these tariffs were going, right? Of like, how possible would it be to move productions of PS5s to the U.S., which is partially the reason why these tariffs are happening in the first place. The current administration believes this will push foreign, like, you know,
Yeah.
production back to the U.S., that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
With, however, if I'm reading this correctly, the chief financial officer for Sony was talking about how it would create a financial impact of 100 billion yen, which is about 684 million US, from these tariffs across the divisions. And then ultimately, Sony decided just to not do that because I'm guessing, like, ultimately half the reason why, if you want to have an economic lesson here, half the reason why a lot of these production jobs and, like, say, like clothes, like a lot of these sort of lower end like production jobs moves out of the U.S. to other countries like Mexico and China and stuff is because it's just cheaper to do it there.
Mhm.
Like the reality is that the U.S. we have like what minimum wage fares, like I think where we live it's like 750 for minimum wage.
Yeah.
Point is, like, none of these companies want to pay that much to their workers for just making shoes and technology, like machine parts and stuff, and they find it easier and cheaper to do that in China, for example, right?
Yeah.
So that they pay their workers pretty much dirt cheap, basically, so they save money. So it becomes this sort of recurring trend of like, okay, we'll tariff these countries so that way maybe we can move them back to where we want them here. But companies don't want to pay us Americans our fair share, basically. So it kind of becomes this sort of thing of, well, we're getting tariffed. We're not going to raise our prices to anything here. So pretty much we're just going to push the the expenses onto the consumer, pretty
Mhm.
much.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how these tariffs are working now. Because again, as we've seen now, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo have all increased their prices for their technology stuff because they listen. They do this in a bit of like, we're sorry we have to do this, just to let you know. We're sorry. We don't want to do this.
We definitely don't.
And hell, maybe Sony doesn't have to do it because they are profiting off the PlayStation, right? It's
Yeah.
again the bigger of the brands, has a large market base and everything. But it's at the end of the day, it's like we don't want to spend all that money.
Mhm.
So our best way of recuperating the cost is to pass those tariff costs onto you, the consumer, right? Um, Granted, this is just my understanding of the situation. Of course, I'm not an economic expert. I am not a licensed whatever you call it.
Mhm.
So forgive me, audience, if I gotten something wrong. You can type it in the comments and disagree or whatever you want to do. Um, but yeah, I mean that's sort of where we're at right now,
Yeah.
and it's again like we said a bit.
It's
Yeah,
disheartening because like it, this is not only just gonna affect the consoles but also all other forms of gaming too. It's just really hard for like a lot of what essentially is one of a lot of people's favorite hobby, whether it be like something competitive or just like just like playing say something chill and relaxing as Animal Crossing, right? It's not that expensive. I can pay like around what $60 at the time and just like spend hours and hours. But now it's like, oh, now I have to like see if whether or not this is going to increase in price and this is going to affect my, all the other stuff. And then you have all these kind of other, then there's these games that like try to monetize everything to the point where it's like, man, I feel like I don't want to play this game anymore. It's just one trying to take my money for everything.
Yeah. I will say though, the interesting news to come out in the wake of this announcement was from good old GameStop, right?
Oh yeah, GameStop.
GameStop.
Sometimes it'll come through. Sometimes.
Yeah. Anyways, so GameStop came out. I think when the announcement came out that they were essentially doing a promotion for this whole price exchange, right?
Mhm.
So pretty much GameStop would be helping cover the cost of this price increase, right? Pretty much, when you trade in, if I'm reading this correctly, when you trade in any of your older gen consoles, mainly your PS4s, your Xbox One is, that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
that they would essentially cover the cost of the price increase. So basically, you get like a $50 credit that goes towards you getting a PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people like, why can't it be more? It's like, oh, I mean, like,
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, I think that's the other, I guess, the critique that someone would go with. It's like, well, how not? Why not more? Obviously, I think it's promotional. One, right? It kind of takes advantage of that sort of thing of, hey,
yeah,
if you want to upgrade now, do it now by trading in your old console. Which, I feel like at this point, a lot of the people that still have a PlayStation 4 should probably take if they want to get to a PS5 at this point, if you haven't already.
mhm,
Like that's probably that saves you a decent amount.
yeah,
And if I recall correctly, PlayStation 4 games are backwards compatible anyway, so you don't have to trade in your library if you need to.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it's a nice bright spot in terms of the unfortunate news,
yeah.
right? Of like GameStop, obviously not having the best reputations,
No, no, no,
but clearly showing that, hey, we want to do at least a nice gesture, right? Of like, hey, you can just do this.
yeah,
We'll give you a $50 credit that goes into buying a new console,
mhm,
that sort of thing. Help you cover the cost a bit, right?
yeah,
So, I mean, and I'm not exactly sure, correct, if you also get like, because I know when you sell your old consoles and stuff, you probably do get some money back. I don't know if they also will give you money for that as well. I don't know,
mhm,
but so it's certainly interesting in my opinion, right?
mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's just really tough, man. It's just really a hard time. Gaming has now become a very expensive hobby, and I know there's some people who are like, why don't you just like get a PC? And I'm like, do you know how much PCs are worth? Like they're a lot.
I mean, I think that's kind of one of those common PC master race comments of like just buy a PC, it's cheaper. Which I mean, yeah, I guess you could probably say that in the long term, but I guess the asking price of like even just a made PC is still kind of high. I know there are tons of tech channels. You don't have to put in the comments or whatever. Like just go, you can just build a PC on the cheap or whatever by doing this, this, and that. And it's like I understand that. Just there are some people that don't want to do that. Like I think the thing about consoles is the convenience,
Yeah,
right? Of
that's
just getting a
exactly convenient.
machine and that plays games and you don't really have to do much to set it up or
No,
anything,
no.
right? You just plug it into the wall, plug it to your TV, and it works fine, right?
Mhm.
Maybe get your internet connection going, but that's sort of the thing about the gaming consumer base. It's just they want convenience, and again, don't get me wrong, you can just buy a pre-made PC, but sometimes those can cost a bit, and that initial price tag is daunting. And I would probably agree that maybe essentially you probably do spend less by just getting a gaming PC or gaming laptop if you want to do that. Um, because realistically, you don't need to get a new one unless it sort of breaks down on you, like your battery just dies and there's no replacement for it, right? Um, so you could just replace the parts
I,
if
I,
need be,
I was
right?
gonna say like half the time for me when it comes to talking consoles and PCs, it's usually they always trust someone else to build it for them, or they themselves build it, and that in itself is its own little hobby.
Yeah,
And to get into a new hobby like that, that takes some time. You kind of need to like learn the ins and outs.
and whether or not you're committed to do it, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because like I like to, I sometimes collect comic books. I obviously like to make like Gunpla model kits, and like those will often always be more of cost more than convenience. Because I could just build it whenever I can, and like I'm always, but it's always been like, hey, I don't think I have enough room for it. I want to build this new one, but I don't got a room for it,
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff. Or I have to figure out like a cool way to like maneuver around that issue. But people would look at me and like that looks annoying. I'm like, yeah, but once you get into it, it kind of becomes almost therapeutic, right? So it's like it's a hobby. It's something that's kind of like you want something you want to spend your time with and do stuff like pick it up on an instrument. It's kind of like that with PCs to me in my mind. So it's like not saying I'm not against it, but it's one of those things I'm like I feel like I need to commit to it if I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I want to get someone else to do it for me.
Right, right. Um, and I would argue too that I mean, let's face facts here. We're also getting some of that price increases for PCs as well. I mean, look at the market if you want like a
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good
yeah, that's true.
graphics card,
That's true.
right? Like it's
And
not
they
that's not the
and they
thing.
tend to be bought up by bots a lot faster than most people.
Yeah, you have to face the scalper market there too, right? Like
Hmm.
saying the phrase "just buy a PC" is not the end all be all as one would make it, because again, oftentimes they're probably facing as much issues as the PlayStation and Xbox. Because remember, all these computer parts, a lot of them get made in like China or Taiwan, and those places, right? Like I'm pretty sure a lot of graphics cards get made in Taiwan, so yeah, you're gonna be facing some tariff costs there.
Yeah, you can't just get like a regular like computer setup and just be like, oh, I'll just download Steam. Yeah, there's no way that regular computer of yours is gonna be able to handle all that
Yeah, I guess depends on the game, obviously.
too.
But that's the thing too, right? Depending on what games you want to play. Like if you just want to play some like puzzle games or like old like retro style games, then yeah, probably a decent PC could get it for you. But if you want to play like the major next gen games coming out, right?
Mm.
You have to have a pretty decent graphics card. Make sure your memory and all that stuff is good. Like pretty much like if you want like again like it's like if you want a PC that can last you quite a while, then you need to definitely look up, do your research, find the right parts that fit well with what you want, and then build it. And for again, a lot of people, they don't want to do that. It's
Mm.
too inconvenient for them to do that.
Some people still have the same PC from like 5, 10 years ago. That's because they're most likely not playing anything that's too, you know, graphics consuming.
Yeah, and also they probably planned out how they wanted their PC to go and just could see where like the high end of what they wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like again, at the end of the day, that sort of thing it's all about convenience. At least when it comes to the consoles, right?
Yeah.
Like people want convenience when they play video games.
Mm-hmm.
And
And some people are like, well, I mean, I'm not in a hurry to buy a PlayStation, so I'm not bothered. I'm like, that's fine. That's again, this isn't about that. It's more like, well, this is gonna be more for people who are into, you know, who are gonna be who are thinking about getting a PlayStation or any of the newer consoles or anything high end in terms of PC wise. It's just like this is like something that's gonna end up coming after you
mhm.
than anything else. Which it's the suckest part, and we're gonna have to face this as we go on, and I don't like to be like doom scrolly or whatever. It was bound to happen, and it's happening, and it's like, oh well, we're gonna find a way around this to help each other out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the solutions aren't as easy as one would make, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, there's really nothing we can do at this point in terms of seeing any of these prices go down anytime soon. I mean, who knows? I don't know if they, because oftentimes some of these tariffs things, and I think that's the other issue is that sometimes, they do go down. Some other times they go back right up. And I don't know if it's just sort of a tactical thing from the current administration or what, but I think that uncertainty is what is driving a lot of these price increases because at the end of the day, Sony and Microsoft, and Nintendo just don't know when, if ever, these tariffs will decrease or just be straight up lifted. So they're hedging their bets on that not being a thing happening in the near future. So they'll increase the prices of certain things just to, you know, place safe bets, right? And unfortunately, the consumer audience, we don't really have much of a choice here either. And yeah, it's like either we buy these consoles at higher prices, right? Like with the Switch,
Mm-hmm.
or we ultimately have to figure out some way to get around this stuff. And I don't know how we're gonna do that. So if you're ever interested in buying a PlayStation, good luck to you, I guess.
Yeah. But like, hopefully things get better. Hopefully, the gaming market is able to find a way around this and they're able to still give people what they need and what they want. And until then, I'd say try out like old like retro games or games that don't really cost that much. I guess I don't know. But anyways, I think it was a good point to end it. You got anything else to say? I'm kind of done.
No, nothing. I think we've touched up on as much as we can talk about when it
Yeah.
comes to the price increases. Just Sony was sort of I think maybe the last one to hold out a bit. Now they've increased their prices as well. So
Whether it be like, and like a lot of people's like, oh, it's just $50. Like, yeah, $50 plus like the $500 is already cost.
yeah, it's yeah. I guess in the grand scheme of things, technically, it's like well, these $50, like it's not that big of a deal. And it's like, well, when it costs already this much and you're adding the extra 50, I mean, I can just point out the prices. It pushes the PS5 Pro, which is already $700 to 750, which is like I don't think any console's gotten close to going in the 800 range, and that's the thing too, where I think in my brain I'm
Does
like,
the Xbox have done it already? No.
no, I don't think so. Like in my brain, I don't think of any console or whatever that has gotten close to $800. And remember, people are probably buying like an extra controller, games as well to play, and then that balloons up.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like if like with the PlayStation, if you get a PlayStation 5 that costs like $700, I mean like or 800, you're usually getting like two games and a controller out of that, or something around those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's feasible. You're buying a bundle. You're not just buying a single console. But I think that's about as much as we can say. Obviously, it's always dependent on you as on you as a consumer to do what you feel like you want to do with your money. And if this makes you not want to get one, that I totally get it. I totally get it. Uh, but I think it's a good place to end it. And hopefully it gets real to pull through and things get better, as I've been saying. But it's been me, your boy Eli.
Sweet Joe.
And if you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Most likely active on Instagram, where you find a link to all podcasts that we're pushing part of, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and a link to the YouTube for you audio listeners that want to put a face to the voice. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and a page up for the most report. And yeah, that's about it today. Hopefully the next episode will be a little more cheerier. we'll find something. But anyways, you guys have a good one. Peace.